Hello there, my lovely friends. You are welcome back to another beautiful week on the Sheesh Mom podcast. My name is Courage. I am your host on here, and we are down to our last episode of the year 2024. Super excited about it. More excited about our topic of today because it is something that while I was doing research on this, it was blowing my mind away. So I'm so excited to share it with you all. I originally planned to share something else with you guys, but since this has been popping up like everywhere, in my conversations, at the picnic that we had last week, I was just like, God definitely wants me to look at this. And I did some research and I was like, this is actually a real thing. And I'm so excited to share it with you all. But I'm going to put you guys on to, what the podcast is all about. So it's a podcast that is created to help you build healthy daily habits and also to encourage you to get curious enough to go on the journey of becoming the person you were created to be. Every single month I get to highlight a woman of impact, so I bring on a guest. If you didn't know, this podcast is on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever you get your podcasts on, so you can watch some of the episodes. You can also listen. Like right now it's an audio episode and I bring on guests from time to time. They come and share. I really encourage the video episodes because I love them so much too, but I also love a good audio episode, and that's why I still keep these audio episodes in. But yeah, I'm really excited and get to catch up on the Instagram. I try to post there now every single day, and I'm excited to just keep it alive and see where the Lord takes it to. So yeah, we're gonna deep dive into our topic of today because I'm excited about it. And just like you, I was asking myself a lot of questions like, is anxiety transfer a real phenomenon? And through countless number of research, a lot of conversations, even with strangers, the people in my community, my friendships, my family members, like literally we were talking about this, and it's a real thing. So anxiety transfer occurs when one person's anxiety or stress affects another person's emotional state, often causing them to feel anxious or stressed as well. So this can happen in various contexts, like maybe personal relationships, in workplaces, in group settings, in communities, and so much more. So as usual, this episode will be divided into two parts. I'm going to be talking about how anxiety transfers happen in part 1, and in part 2 we're going to be talking about how to manage these anxiety transfers. Because if there's one thing that I know that we were all created for, we were created for a relationship with our creator, and we were also created for a relationship with each other as human beings. So you will still need to talk to people, you still need to be in community. And let me tell you something about community. There is so much beauty in community and in your relationships and in your friendships, and that is why you would in most and many cases experience so much turmoil and heartache from them. People break you and people heal you. People make everything better, I think I was telling someone the other day how my previous workplace literally destroyed my nervous system, and the workplace that I'm in right now is healing my nervous system. And it's the same way with people. I've had some relationships that really broke me, and then I've also had relationships that at the same time while I was breaking, I was healing. So community is the most beautiful thing you will ever experience. You get to see God through people. How else does God bless us and come through for us in certain ways unthinkable or unimaginable? Through people. So I just really want to start off with that, and just to tell someone that community is important. Hold on to your community, especially when you find your people. I'm telling you, they're very hard to come by. When you find genuine people, hold on to them, okay? So we're going to just step into chapter 1, which is how anxiety transfers happen. But before we do that, I want to give you guys a brief definition of neurons. Now, if you've been with me on the Instagram, and maybe if you know me personally, we've been having some conversations, I am obsessed in a very good way with neurons, and just with the brain and just the body, our emotions, and how it all works. So that is something that I'm really grateful that came out of this year 2024, because I took out time to understand myself, understand how my brain works, why I do the things I do, why I speak the way I speak, how I react the way I react, and just understanding how my brain functions. It's been so beautiful to go on that journey with God, with myself, and just the people around me. So I'm gonna give you guys a brief definition of neurons. Neurons are specialized cells in the nervous system that transmit information through electrical and chemical signals. They are the fundamental building blocks of the brain, the spinal cord, and the peripheral nerves. They enable all of our thoughts, sensations, movements, and actions. Now, in your body alone, you have 86 billion neurons running around. Crazy! And if you've ever taken out time, which is something I really encourage you to do, maybe I'll add it on Instagram. I'll add a picture of a neuron. Like, you're gonna see how they are, and just imagine 86 billion of them running around in your brain, and each of them having the capability of forming thousands of connections. This is amazing. Every time I think about this, I am just humbled, number one, and I'm also just amazed at how detailed God was in creating all of us. Like, it's amazing, it's beautiful, it shows so much love and precision. And another beautiful thing that I love about neurons is that they help us to adapt and interact with the world and with each other, because they enable us in our thinking, our learning, and our memory. So these are just beautiful aspects of neuron. And I decided to start off with that because the first thing on our list of how anxiety transfers happen is, number one, mirror neurons. I've said it before and I'll say it again on this podcast. We mirror each other. You are the sum total of the people you spend the most time with and the environments you sit in. As humans, we are wired to actually pick up on the emotions of others through a biological mechanism called mirror neurons. Now, let's talk about anxiety for a bit. When someone maybe around you or in your circle displays anxious behaviors, such as, let's take pacing, maybe they're speaking rapidly or they are expressing worry, that can actually activate similar emotional responses in you. Haven't you ever realized that there are times where you are behaving the same way as the person you spend the most time with? Maybe your hand gestures are looking like them, your facial expressions, the way you even speak, how your voice sounds like. Because you guys have been spending so much time together, you are now mirroring their attributes, and you are just like, you are now like behaving like them. That is what mirroring is all about. So we mirror neurons, and that is one way that anxiety transfer can happen. The next one is empathy and emotional contagion. I'm going to spell contagion because I kind of feel like I am messing it up with my accent. So it's Contagion. And another word that I love to use in the place of contagion is contagious. Okay, and I'm going to tell you why in a minute. Empathy, as much as it allows us to connect with each other, it can also make us vulnerable to the point where we are absorbing other people's emotional states. And this is known as emotional contagion, where you catch someone else's feelings. Now you get why I call it contagious, right? So because feelings are contagious, emotions are contagious, mindsets are contagious. Haven't you ever seen cases where some people walk into the room and they light it up with so much joy, with so much energy, with so much peace? There are some people that I've met that blew my mind away, because immediately I shook hands with them, I experienced a certain peace even before they spoke. And even when they spoke with so much calm and so much grace, and it was just so beautiful. I don't know if you've ever experienced that, but I have, and I'm telling you, it's another level of human beings. Okay, it's another level. And there are some people who then walk into a room, they're gloomy, they're sad, they're negative, and it just spreads out throughout the entire place. Okay, it is contagious. When someone else has it, it can easily rub off on you. So empathy is something that we all have as human beings. It's something that God ingrained in each and every one of us. We have a certain degree of it. That's why we can be able to be kind to people. We can experience their joy and their peace, even if whatever they're experiencing is not directly happening to us, because we've all been ingrained with a certain level of empathy. And that is why it is also another way for anxiety to transfer to between people. So the third thing is tension in relationships. Now, this can happen in close relationships, especially when someone is highly empathetic. Back again to that empathy word. But anxiety can be transmitted through constant exposure to other people's worries and behaviors. Now, this one is very, very real, and as you grow, you will realize, and you will see some traits in yourself too, because then you have to know where you stand. There are some people that are highly empathetic and some other people that are not so highly empathetic. And please don't hear what I didn't say. I didn't say some people are good and some people are bad. I said there are some people who are highly empathetic, meaning they can hear someone vent, listen to someone's problems, cry with them, weep with them, go through the motions with them, and then they don't know they're doing it. This is something that is real. They do not know they're doing it, and they don't know that's what's happening to them, but they pick it up, take it with them wherever they're going to. It circles into their lives and it becomes a part of whatever they're going through. Now, added to their own problems, it starts becoming heavy for them. So there are people who can actually make other people's problems their own. They take on the burden, which they're not supposed to be doing, because the burden is light. Jesus already got the burden for us. But anyways, there are some people like that, and it's not their fault. It's just a way that they were created, and the thing now is for them to know how to navigate that. But on the other side, there are people who are very, they're on the other part of the coin. They can help you out, they'll listen to you vent, walk with you, everything. As they leave, they are not literally making your problem their own, which is also a very healthy way to live life, because I feel like if you carry 10 people's problems, you're gonna get sick. That's what I'm gonna say. You're gonna get sick. So there are two sides of the coin. So that is number 3. And the last one is our environment. Like I said, your aunties, your uncles, your brothers, your sisters, your mothers, they were not lying when they said pick your friends wisely. Proverbs was not also lying. Our environment, stressful, or whatever they look like, if they're stressful, if there is a lot of pressure in environments, they can amplify the effect of anxiety transfer, because it makes it more likely for it to spread in that community or in that place. So wherever you sit, the places you go to, the activities you're getting into, you have to be mindful of them, because you can pick up things from there. You can pick up things from the people, the environment. And when I'm talking about environment, it's not only about people, the places too. There are some places that will produce anxiety. You don't need to do too much, just walk into the place. So that leads us to our chapter 2 of this episode, which is how to manage anxiety transfer. Now, I didn't say tips and tricks, because I really don't believe in tips and tricks. I believe in strategies and systems, because we are all about long-lasting change. We are not about quick fixes. And like I said before, we are meant to be in relationships with other people. You cannot run, you cannot isolate, you cannot hide from people, because we all need each other. We need to be in community. God's people are amazing. Your community is amazing. Your family is amazing. People are amazing, no matter what has happened to you, no matter what you think. Okay, the only thing now is for you to be able to know how to manage it. That's what I say. And that's why I call them systems, and that's why I call them strategies. So you're going to get around people. It's now for you to know how to manage all of this. So the first one on the list is self-awareness. It's the first on the list because it is the biggest one on the list. And I know that we throw around this word a lot lately. It's because it's kind of very important, but at the same time, I also feel like there are people who are not using it properly. So like, again, I always encourage you guys, go do studies for yourself, but I really encourage you to pause and assess from time to time. Make it a practical thing in your life, whether your feelings are stemming from your own situations or from someone else's emotions. This will help you to recognize whether you are being affected by someone else's anxiety or your anxiety. So self-awareness is so important. I love a good pause and reflect. This is something that I do in every single area of my life. It helps you to even make good decisions. Okay, so pause and reflect and ask yourself these big questions. I have this friend, she's a nurse, amazing lady. She's one of the real ones. We talk about everything: relationships, work, careers, future, present day and age. We talk about everything, and every single time we're talking about the things that are happening in our lives, she would always make this statement, and every time she said it, I didn't really pay much attention to, because it's working for her. That's what I was thinking. I was like, that's amazing. But she always told me that when things were happening to her, she had to stop and ask herself. So she always worded like this. I was like, courage. I had to ask myself if this were just my hormones or someone else's actions or my emotions or their emotions or what they said. I had to ask myself, and then from there I could move forward. It made a lot of sense when she said it, but I never really took it to heart. Then I got into this season of my life where I wouldn't really say from before I was like that kind of high functioning anxiety person. I wouldn't really say that. I do a lot of things that are really out of my comfort zone, and I would feel nervous from time to time, get those sweaty palms before a presentation or before I travel, or just doing things that are out of my comfort zone. And like basically I would say that was my journey with anxiety, and the normal ones of like worrying about the future. And I think that is what the Bible was trying to say, and Jesus was like, I'm gonna take care of you. If I do all of this, what do you think about yourself? Like, you are made in my image, don't you think I'll take care of you? So I think with that one, I've gotten to a certain point in my life where I don't really worry about my future anymore. But I think it comes with time, because especially in your early 20s and when you're hitting 25, you're like worried, what am I going to do, where am I going to settle, what am I going to do in my life? And then you have all these questions. I want to first of all let you know that if you're feeling that way, having all these questions, it's okay. God is not angry with you that you're having all these questions. It's okay. He's open to them. But at the same time, then you grow. And I was telling someone, I love this stage of life that I'm in. I hope it continues like this to the end, because I just got to a point in my life where I was just like, well, he's kind of going to take care of the future. So why am I worried about things that I cannot control, things that are out of my control? Why am I worried about them? So to a certain extent, I have stopped worrying about my future, and I'm not there yet, but I think to a certain level, I have stopped. And I think I'm more focused on my present day and age right now, because I'm just trying to focus where I am and not miss out on the good that God is doing in today. So that is something that I would say I wasn't really experiencing some kind of high level of anxiety. Then I got into this season where it was going on for months. I was experiencing a lot of turmoil, a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress, and it was coming like there were a lot of stressors around me, work, people, things, so many things. And then I had to stop in my tracks one day, and I was like, what is all of this? You get to a point where you need to put your foot down, and I was like, why am I experiencing all of these things? Then I had to backtrack. I started asking myself questions, and then I realized that I was carrying a lot of things that weren't really mine. I was like, but why am I anxious about this? Where is it coming from? And then I realized some of the things were so you just start finding out, this person said this, my boss said this friend said this thing. Why am I picking up this person's problem? Like, why am I even trying to fix it when there's no solution for it? And just so many things. So like, and I think if we all can admit it, if you're honest enough, you've tried at one particular point in your life to fix someone else's life. Okay, you've tried to be Jesus Junior, and you get to a point where life humbles you, and you're like, okay, I am done playing the role of Jesus. And I think, to be honest, in community and in friendships and in family, our job is to lead people back to Jesus, is to point them back to Jesus. And now I practice something when someone meets me and they're about to start spewing a lot of stuff on me. I'm like, what do you want? Do you want to just vent, or are you looking for advice? You have to be able to ask people that question, because if they're just venting, they don't need your advice. They just need you to sit. They just need you to listen. And then at some particular point, I'm going to be like, do you need me to do anything about this? Like, do you want us to find solutions? And they're like, no, I just need someone to listen to me. That is a real thing. I have so many times I just need someone to listen to me. They just hear me vent and I'm gone. Because I'm going to figure it out later, so that's something that you have to work on. Like, what are you asking the people around you? Like, and also notice when people are asking you those questions too. So yeah. Number 2 is for you to set boundaries. Now, before I get into this one, we live in a day and age where we throw around a lot of words, and most of us don't even know the extent of the words. So one thing I would really encourage anyone with boundaries is that go and study boundaries. Don't just only listen to what you heard on Instagram, on a TikTok, or on a podcast. Like, go and actually read proper articles that carry weight about it, read research, whatever it is, and find out what could work for you. Because as much as we are alike as human beings, we also have different lives. We see life in a very different way. You don't really know how much you see life differently from others until you really start doing life with people. Then you get to realize that the way you think is totally different from the way someone else thinks. I think for me, I got to a particular point in my life where I realized that there's so many things that I don't pay attention to, and there was a season where I thought that was a problem, because I was like, why do people care so much about this? I do not care about this. I'm like, I don't even give a wink what is going on there. Like, someone be, I just go, I don't even care, and then at a particular point I was like, well, maybe should I start caring, because everyone seems so hung up about it. And then I got to meet other people who also don't care as much about that, and I was like, okay then, but I'm just trying to say that there are so many things that you don't pay attention to, that someone is literally using a microscope in or on and like zooming in on it. So we're all really, really different, but find out what boundaries work for you. But if you're realizing that you're getting anxious, like for me, I realized that I would get anxious around certain environments, and it wasn't like I was doing something really big in there. The environment was making me anxious, and I was just like, okay, limiting all of this. So you can limit exposure, you can limit conversations. There are some conversations that can actually make you anxious if you didn't know. There are conversations, there are topics, there, like, sometimes I get anxious with the way I see some people treat some people. I literally do. And then now that I'm trying not to be Jesus Junior and trying to go in there and trying to help out everything, I literally just turn around, I pray for you, and I walk away. So there are some that, there's something that I heard Jackie Hill say one time. She was like, God is probably making you see some things because he wants you to pray. Not all the time you have to call it out, like, you this, whatever that is. Sometimes you just gotta pray, be an intercessor, and move. So literally that's what I'm doing now. I have to listen to the God. I'm like, God, am I supposed to do something here? And if he's like, no, or if I don't hear anything, I'm like, okay, that's my answer. So but what I'm just trying to say is, just do what you need to do, okay? And just like, if you're realizing some things about you, there's some conversations that I will not have right now. Like, I will not have, because I just know they give me anxiety. And there are some places that you will not see me there. Like, even if there's 10 billion there, I will not be there. There's some environments that I will not be there. And it's a thing where you have to grow up at some point. You have to wear your big girl pants, and you have to just be like, okay, for my well-being, for the well-being of my family, for the well-being of, so many other things, I have to be able to have these good non-negotiables. I'm going to be in my house cooking at 8 p.m. and I'm not going to be outside. So, well, yes. The next one is for you to practice grounding exercises. My friends, for those who listened to episode 83, thank you so much for the feedback. I had someone who was like, the grounding exercise was her favorite part of that particular episode. I am so grateful, because I love grounding exercises. So you can use mindfulness, you can use deep breathing. Deep breathing is the one we did, and it's the one that I use a lot. Or you can find other calming strategies to help you stay grounded in your own emotions rather than absorbing someone else's emotions. So this is something that's very big. Just like you inhaling and exhaling and giving yourself that moment of stillness, because there's a moment of stillness that comes after you inhale and you exhale. In that moment of stillness, then you bring in the question from number one: where is this anxiety coming from? What is the source? What happened before I'm here? You can even pick up a journal if you need to. Whatever you need to do it. Find the source of that anxiety, okay? And then you can be able to know how to go about it from there. You cannot cut out the fruit of something if you don't know the root of it, okay? I probably messed that up, but you guys get what I'm trying to say. And number 4 is communication. If it is a close relationship, you can talk openly about how their anxiety is affecting you, and you guys can come up with discuss ways on how to support each other without transferring stress or anxiety. And this is something that's so huge. I have like a really personal example of this with a family member that we had. Literally all of us, cousins, aunties, uncles, we were all getting so frustrated with this person. Every time they enter the chat room, there's a lot of negativity everywhere. They don't see anything good in life. And I do know that comes from some personal, experiences and all that. But we were like, dude, you are just spreading this thing on all of us. We all live the thing. We're anxious. We're now worried about everything because like we were doing fine, And to a certain extent, I had to talk about it. And I was like, if you keep behaving like this, like literally, I will not talk to you anymore. Like I will not, because you are just killing every ounce of joy and hopefulness that we are all trying to have. So it's not about toxic positivity, but there are some people that their negativity is on 100 level plus. So you can talk to them about it, and family, friendships, whatever it is, find ways to talk and speak up for yourself. That's one thing that I'm learning. Speak up for yourself. Aside from speaking up for yourself, be open to the fact that sometimes people are gonna hear what you don't say, and that is okay too, as long as you said it. The most important thing is that you said it. And I think we had someone asked this question on the picnic that we had last week, which is just amazing. Thank you guys for coming out for the picnic. And she was like, how do I set boundaries without taking on people's problems and also not making people mad at me? And then she asked it to Celeste, who was the guest for that day, talking about mental health, and we talked about it. But at the same time, I was telling the girls, I was like, I realized growing as I've been trying to have non-negotiables right now, and having non-negotiables means I say no a lot more than I say yes. So no is my first word before yes comes behind it. But having non-negotiables now has taught me to see that in the world in general, we were not taught how to accept people's no's. Whenever someone tells us no, we immediately make it about us. We even strip away the person's whatever they're going through, or we even take away their gift of choice that they have, or their gift of expression, because now they'll be scared and they're gonna be like, I'm not gonna tell someone else no. They want to people please and all these things. But then I feel like this is something that you grow into. So at a certain point you realize you can't really please everyone, because when you just think you're pleasing them, the bar goes higher. People are never really satisfied. Someone always has something to say. Everyone has an opinion. Someone has something to complain about. And at the end of the day, you cannot really please people. People are just weird. We are weird. I'm weird. We're all weird. So you cannot really think you're gonna satisfy everyone. Do what you can, okay? Do what you can. And the next one is develop emotional resilience. Developing emotional resilience is so tight. It is very tied. Okay, I'm messing up. And the next one is develop emotional resilience. Emotional resilience is really tied to self-awareness, because I realize when you get to know yourself properly, then you can strengthen your ability to manage stress and maintain emotional balance. And this can look different for everyone. Some people can emotional resilience could look like practicing a little bit of self-care, resting when they need to, having relaxation practices, and also just knowing how to respond in different situations. Because I think half of all of this comes from your brain and comes from your heart and comes from the way you speak and the way you think about situations. Just a little bit of them will be grounding exercises. Just a little bit of them will be, you going on a bubble bath or going on a trip or whatever it is. Half of some of these things will be you actually practicing them by saying something, thinking a different way. So it comes with a lot of mindset shift and all these things. But you developing emotional resilience will save your life. It will save your entire life, because you have mastered your emotions. And I'm not saying you're going to master them 100%, because to be honest, you are a changing being. You keep changing. Things are going to keep adding. Things are going to keep falling. But to a certain extent, you're making effort to get to know who you are, get to understand your emotions. And that actually helps you out in so many different ways in life. So when you've understood your emotions, which is a journey, nothing can move you to a certain level. Nothing. And I'm telling you out of experience, nothing. When you understand and you are trying and you are making effort to regulate your emotions, and then you meet another human being who is not regulating their emotions and their own is just everywhere, and they're trying to put it on you, you're gonna know how to stand up for yourself, and you're gonna know either to whatever you're gonna know how to navigate that situation, because you have gotten this beautiful relationship with your emotions, which is a good thing. You have to stop being at war with your emotions. Your emotions are not bad, okay? Whatever they told you, they lying. That's what I'm saying. Learn, my friends, learn, okay? Take courses. Step out of your comfort zone. Read books, okay, and actually apply them. Not only read them, read books, have conversations with people that are far ahead of you in some of the things that you're interested in. Go out into the world, make connections, talk to people, increase your knowledge, okay? Because if you do, you get to know yourself a little bit more with every single conversation, and then you get to actually change and evolve and step into the version of you that you've always been, but you've never just actually embodied that, okay? So yeah, those are the 5 things that you can do to be able to manage anxiety: self-awareness, set boundaries, practice grounding techniques, encourage communication, develop emotional resilience. And I really encourage you guys to get to know how you work. Okay, let me put it like that. Get to know how you work. Why do you say the things you say? Why do you behave the way you behave? Why do you react the way you react? Get to know about yourself, and then you can be able to know how to navigate other things. And yes, anxiety transfer is a real thing. If you didn't know, now you know. The way people are feeling can be transferred onto you. That's why it's good for you to be able to learn how to navigate this, because if there's one thing I know, is that the world is always turning, life is always happening, things will always be happening to us, and you cannot control all of that. You cannot run away from all of that. Things are gonna happen, okay? But it's up to you. It's up to you to decide at the end of the day. It's up to you to know what to do at the end of the day. But all I want to assure you of is that God has you, okay? And because he has you, you're going to be okay with the decisions that you're making. Just make sure that you are aligning it with him, and throw away the mindset or the mentality of being a people pleaser, because to be honest, we are all just very fleeting human beings. We're very diverse. You can never please people to a certain extent, to a certain degree, to a certain level, okay? And that's why even when they're talking about marriage, you're not marrying your spouse for them to complete you. Make sure that you're complete with the Lord first, okay? And you actually love your life and you love yourself first, okay? But what I'm just trying to say is, you cannot live in a constant state of trying to please people, okay? You're gonna actually almost die if you're trying to do that, because every single time the bar will keep being raised. Every single time you think you're making progress with making someone happy, the next minute they're changing their minds or something else is going on. So I think, like, at the end of the day, move with wisdom, and just know that you have the right to stop from time to time and pause and reflect and ask yourself big questions. Why am I anxious right now? What is this all about? And that is the beginning of your answers, and that is the beginning of you living a free life. If there's one thing I'll tell you, is that when you finally learn to let go and put everything down, even your anxiety. I remember, I think a few weeks ago, someone made me, and then she was like, Curry, something is different about you. Like, something is different about you. What have you done? What is going on with you? And I remember looking at her and I was like, well, I took out all the drama out of my life. And even when I was a drama, I took it out. Because sometimes you're your own problem. You know, you are your own problem. And I had to, I was like, that's something nice to say, because I don't think someone had asked me that. And when she said that, I had to think about it. I was like, even when I was a drama, I took myself out of the picture and I took my stressors out, and life is just calmer and more peaceful. And it's not like you're taking them out. I think the perfect way I would be able to describe it is that I changed the way I reacted to so many things. Like, I feel like right now the world could be falling apart, fire could be everywhere, and I'd literally still remain calm. So I think it's a very peaceful place to be at, when you know that it's not dependent on you. Like, you are not the fixer, okay? God is. And as much as you are doing the work to navigate so many things, trust that God is taking care of his people. So yeah, I'm just grateful. I think if there's one thing that I love that I've taken out of the year, was my curiosity with neurons, because that was the beginning of my journey. Because at the very beginning I was like, I cannot believe I'm experiencing this level of anxiety. Something probably has to be wrong with my brain. And then as I got to stumble on so many things, I was like, okay, there's something is not wrong with the brain, you know, things are just happening like this. And then as I got to learn, I just adored God more every single day that I learned about how unique he made all of us. And yeah, so I love you guys, and we'll talk again in the next episode. I am excited about it. Next week, brand new year, first new episode with my lovely friend Ivy. We talk all about authenticity, and I cannot wait for you guys to hear all about that. God bless you, my friends, and we will talk again soon. Bye.